ill-advised. They get a 120-101 win over the Brooklyn Nets. And the tank is not in full force. It's not in full steam ahead with the tank because, players shouldn't be tanking anyway.
That's a bad Nets team, too.
It is.
It's a bad Nets team.
That's a Nets team right now that is got the 5th pick.
So here's the thing, Chop. The Nets are really bad. So what I don't want is the Mavericks confusing a victory over the Nets when AD returns, a convincing win, as some sort of evidence that they're now a good team. That would be similar to when Nas told Jay-Z that he thinks he's getting girls now because of his looks.
Right.
That was not the case.
No.
In the classic ether.
They just had a question.
I've never sounded whiter than when I just said it that way.
No. They just had a question on Get Up. Is it too early to say the Mavs lost the trade?
Too early? Yeah.
It's not too early.
Yeah, it's too early. It's too early in the morning for this BS to ask that question.
Yeah. You lose the trade when you give up 10 years for 3. That's when you lose the trade.
That's settled. This is settled. It's not just one. You've settled both, actually. You've settled both of your trades because the Quentin Grimes one you've definitively lost to.
Yeah, I mean, you could lose. Mavs could win 2 titles. They still lose the trade because they gave up 10 years.
And they won't. They won't win 2 titles. Not with this core, anyway. No, Kyrie and Anthony Davis will not play 2 seasons here together. That's not going to happen.
Okay, so there will be, because next year is not. I'm not going to.
This one's a wash. This is gone.
And next year's a wash too because he won't be back till February, January.
So that's never going to happen.
It's gonna be tough. It's gonna be very, very difficult. But the Mavs do win in AD's return.
Yeah, and look, I mean, again, he is a really good basketball player. Anthony Davis is. Anthony Davis is the type of player that, I mean, if you would have told me they added Anthony Davis to their core, you know what? You could have even told me, Chop, they added Anthony Davis, and I might have been okay depending on how the context of how you told me. If you told me it was a Kyrie for Anthony Davis swap, I might have been okay with that.
Yeah, I'd have been way okay with that.
The only thing that gives me a little reservation is we just know Kyrie and Luka played well together.
That's right.
And you don't want to necessarily mess with that. But AD is a great player. He is, I think, when he's healthy, slam dunk, he's probably a top 12 to 15 player in the NBA right now. And that's nothing to sneeze at. But it's not Luka, and it's not, like you said, it's not 10 to 15 years. It's cumulatively, with injuries, maybe you get 2 years worth of games out of him over the next few.
Right.
That might be the rest of his career. Because his body he's consistently broken down throughout his career.
It has, and it did already.
I mean,
you got his tenure here. So he's played a game and a half now. 27 minutes last night. So not the worst night in the world. He got 27 minutes. That's probably what I assume they were going to put him out there for like
28 was his cap, according to Jason Kidd.
That's a very odd number. Usually you would think you would go, and why do we do that? I do the same thing with like my alarm.
I would imagine it's got just in general, they've probably
always in 5s.
I would assume the 28 is related to rotations that they have.
Yeah.
So they know, like, all right, we're going to have him, 8 here. Maybe we'll have him 8 here. Or just like in general, I think the way they structure it and break it up, they know.
But do you know anybody that leaves the house on a they plan to leave the house on a non-5?
I wake up and do that weird times, because I'm like, okay, 3:45. I'll either sleep in a couple minutes later or wake up a little earlier.
So what time's your alarm set for, though?
Like today was 3:52.
That was your alarm?
That was my alarm. Yeah.
Okay.
So I could have done 3:50, but I was like, let me sleep in a couple more minutes, because 3:55 would have been too long. 3:50 is too early.
So my first alarm is 5, but I set 5 of them now, as we know.
Good job.
And the reason is because, I generally do get up on the one that's like 5:02.
Okay.
I guess I could plan it for 4:58 so that I get up on 5.
Well, I was thinking like your alarm, like when you set your alarm.
Yeah,
I'm
rounded.
When you plan to leave, like I can't. When I'm saying I'm going to leave. I'm going to leave here at 4:15. It's never 4:10. It's either 4 o'clock or 4:15 or 4:30. Like I just, for some reason, I just never go. I don't know. And that's the same thing with the Anthony Davis time frame. Like, why 28 minutes?
Now, if I know
it's 25 or 30.
If I know it's 19 minutes away or something, I might say 4:10. If I got to be there by 4:30.
Yeah.
I might then say it. But that's just a reflection of I'm pushing things pretty late.
If you're on time, you're late.
Yeah, that's
You're
exactly
on
what it
time. You're late. Sean and RJ here on 105 through the Fan. Luka's dad found a microphone.
Yeah, Luka's dad was given an interview. This actually comes from Euro Hoops, and I thought this was interesting because I wonder, is this an indicator that maybe Luka would not have been here permanently, or is this just...
And this was done in Slovenian.
Yes. So we're not going to be able to play the audio. We'll just read how it's been transcribed.
I suppose we could if we could see if Peyton could figure out.
Do you want that? Do you want Peyton to try and figure out anything relating to foreign languages?
That's actually. Could you pick out one word?
No, there's no way.
I detected a Persian accent.
Stop
Yeah,
it.
see, exactly. Do you see what you just did there, Chop? Do you see what you've done now? No. So Luka's dad, Sasha, had spoken with a Slovenian television outlet and gave a couple different quotes. He talked about the move to Los Angeles, and he said, "We know that Luka plays better when the pressure is bigger." And he talks about all the, there's star-studded event going to the Lakers games, and there's a lot of eyeballs on it, and it's a chance to perform. And he says, "Luka was born to be in Los Angeles. This city is made for him, and it fits well with his character. I believe he'll succeed here." So when you hear Sasha Dončić say something like that, does that to you say, okay, Luka was always a flight risk then, here from Dallas? Or do you look at this as that's coping?
I mean, look, I don't think he was always a flight risk.
No, but I'm saying, that's what I'm saying. Do these quotes indicate he might have been one?
No.
Or is this just coping?
Yeah, I think it is, because if you go look at it, like there was no indication that he was going to leave, and even they intimated that, right, themselves.
Yeah,
like Luka and his and the team around him did. So there was no indication that he was going to leave. So I don't. Yeah, I think it's coping if that's what you.
I mean, look, Luka wanted everything we heard was that Luka wanted to be here. And it could just be that his dad is saying he's adjusting. Like, he's going to adjust to this. He would have been fine in Dallas, but he's going to adjust to this one here. And that's one that he could be addressing it in that respect. But it also, I think, is at least worth considering, all right, was Luka maybe, even if Luka wasn't aware of it, maybe dad has an awareness. They're like, hey, I see.
Or maybe that's what his dad wanted, and he's projecting that on him.
But it could also be that his dad just sees, like, I know the way you are, and I know you would have sought that out eventually.
That's possible.
Because that's the way that he seems to talk about it. Now, I've got some great Doc Rivers insight for you, Chop, that I think you're going to have your eyes rolling in the back of your head. Before I do that, the fan text, the Franklin Injury Attorneys fan text, is blowing up with some thoughts not only on Luka, but also on Peyton Russell. 903. Okay, so Pepe is a serial killer. 619. Wow, I thought I was the only one.
Whoa.
My alarm is at 3:32 a.m. That's from Tolo Anthony. 214, my alarm goes off at 5:40 a.m. As soon as it goes off, I get up. 972, alarm snooze typically for like 8 minutes. So everybody reacting a little bit differently there, but right there, 903, Peyton thinks that you're a killer for the way that you set your alarm.
It's a little serial killer.
Because everything's timed out in the morning. I have like 12 minutes to get to my car, and leave. That's how much time I allow myself in the morning. So I wake up, and that way, I'm in the bathroom getting ready and everything for, a couple minutes. So it all comes out. It makes sense in my mind.
Doing something at like 32 after is very news radio-y.
News radio.
Right? It's like, coming up at 5:32.
Yeah, exactly. You're giving them that timestamp there. Some of the thoughts on the Franklin Injury Attorneys fan text on the Luka discussion here. 682, so much reaching, geez.
Yeah, I mean, he did just buy a $15 million house.
That's what 214 says. 214 says he just bought a house. He didn't want to leave.
He wasn't going anywhere.
469 says grade A copium there. 214, not even coping, just him assessing the situation that they're in now. So there's some of the reaction on the Franklin Injury Attorneys fan text. Chop, what is Doc Rivers known for? It's the joke you make about him all the time.
You want to blow a 3-1 series lead, you get Doc Rivers.
Anytime Doc Rivers comes up, it's like Sister Jean. We know there's going to be a side. So it's like whenever we bring up hockey, I'm going to say money puck. I'm going to, if there's some sort of, you guys say something about 2 anything, I'm going to say 2 whatever in the 2 Chainz voice. It's just the way it is. Doc Rivers is going to blow 3-1 leads. You're gonna
That's
and
what
you're
he
gonna
does.
mention it.
That's all he does.
It's the Jeff Fisher 8-8. It's that same sort of like reliability.
Hey, he went to a Super Bowl.
Yeah, but that's the same sort of reliability you expect.
God, man, I couldn't. I was living in Tennessee. I was at school, and when they went to the Super Bowl in '99, and Jeff Fisher in his stupid old Navy tech vest that he used to wear, and I hated. You know what hacked me off the most about him was when he would do this hand sign. like he's Tom Hanks in Angels and Demons doing the blade and chalice. He would do the hands for victory formation. And I was like, you SOB, and that stupid look on your face. That stupid vest.
I've got something you're going to hate more than that with Jeff Fisher. I saw this on Reddit early this morning. People thought they were genuinely asking, is this a fake quote? There's no way Doc Rivers said this. This from Mark Spears over at ESPN. He did a Q&A with Doc Rivers, and Doc Rivers says he doesn't get enough credit for winning 3 games in those playoff series where he blows 3-1 leads. Quote, no one tells a real story, and I'm fine with that. It's unfair in some ways. I don't get enough credit for getting the 3 wins. I get credit for losing. I always say, what if we had lost to Houston in 6? No one cares. One of the things that I'm proud of is we've never been swept. All the coaches have been swept in the playoffs. My teams achieve. A lot of them overachieve, and I'm very proud of that. So Doc Rivers is now turning this around to say, my teams were damn lucky to be 3-1. That's my miracle work, and you need to be grateful.
I'm sure there are some teams that never should have been up 3-1. I think the Rockets, was he with Houston when they blew it to Golden State?
I can't remember.
They're up 3-1. I can't remember. No, I don't
he points out. He says I got a team that was an 8 seed up 3-1. That's coaching. That's not bad coaching. I think you might agree with that. An 8 seed up 3-1. You might agree with that, Chop.
Yeah. No.
You're not going to agree with that.
I'm not going to agree with that. I don't even think he was. No, he wasn't even. That was Chris Paul.
Some of the they're getting. He's getting killed on some of this though. When the quote there that says he didn't get enough credit for blowing 3-1 leads. First comment on Reddit, which 3-1 Doc series loss are we talking about here?
This is Patrick Ewing with we make a lot of money, but we spend a lot too.
Yeah.
So that's why we need more.
Yeah.
That's what that is. Like this is not a real quote. I mean, it is a real quote, but
it is.
Doc, and look, I do think athletes in general, and Doc obviously was an athlete before he was a coach. I mean, they have to think this way. They have to think this way.
I will always. I like one of these comments here. The top rated one just says, "My brother in Christ." That's all it says. I'm like, dude, slow down. Come on, buddy. I will always have some respect for Doc Rivers because of the way he saluted Dirk, though. When he stopped down that Clippers game in Dirk's last year, Doc showed more respect to Dirk than Patrick Dumont and Nico Harrison have. When he stopped down that game in Dirk's final season in L.A. to give the crowd a chance to applaud Dirk and congratulate him on his career. But yeah, this is 2 things now he said in the last year that are just absurd. The other one was when he took the Milwaukee job with Damian Lillard and Giannis Antetokounmpo and said, I wouldn't wish this on anybody.
Yeah, it's like Jason Garrett saying I never finished below 500.
But that's a professional gaslighter. I wouldn't wish Giannis on anyone.
Yeah.
Why isn't anybody talking about the great coaching job I did to get up 3-1 to blow that lead?
God forbid.